Hallelujah. I know we've talked about this before, but guess what? This is going to be a different interpretation of this word, righteousness, and it's going to be in the Message Bible. The last time we did it was in the easy to read, and I've got a whole new genre of information. We're going to use John 16:8 to start with. When he comes, he'll expose the error of the godless world's view of sin. Is that not apropos today?
Affirmatron.
Righteousness and judgment. He'll show them that their refusal to believe in me is their basic sin. And that's always been the basic sin. What's that mean? It means basic, base, something you set something on. It's the beginning, the foundation.
Look at all the sexual sins going on right now, all of a sudden.
Well, it's always been there, we just
I
didn't
know,
it.
but
Yeah.
it's out in the open now.
Yes, and you know what? Nobody's gonna get brought to justice over it either.
No.
But yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're correct, sir. He'll show them that their refusal to believe in me is their basic sin. That righteousness comes from above. You can't obtain righteousness on your own. You can't go to church and get it. You can't hubba bubba with a priest and get it. You don't get baptized. It's none of that stuff. The only place that you can get righteousness comes from above, where I am with the Father, out of their sight and control. The judgment takes place as the ruler of this godless world is brought to trial and convicted. Now, who do you think he's talking about? Who is the ruler of this world? And it ain't Satan, so don't start that. Who do you think it is?
It's the evil running, the leaders.
That's part of it, yes. It's between your ears. And it can be, you can be righteousness on one event, and you can be godless on another. And still be born again. What do you believe? Are you putting Jesus number one in every part of every aspect of your life? I don't. Nobody does. But that's okay. That's why he went to the cross. But we try. We try to do better. Every day we do better. We do better. We do better. We don't love our neighbor as ourselves either. But that's coming, you know?
Sometimes we do.
Okay. Hallelujah.
I love Ron when he gives me good news.
When he gives me good news. But if he doesn't give you news, you don't
I
love
still
it.
love it. Not as much.
Not as much. I knew that was
If you put me in church, I'll love it.
But yes, you're right. It's true. We always work on a performance basis.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done that your whole life.
Yeah.
But in a spiritual setting, no. You can't earn anything. It's already there. It's been given to you. Hallelujah. That's why Jesus died for everybody, just not the born again believer.
Edward, praise the Lord under his.
Praise God.
We were just talking.
I just put up your tuning for it. I'll get it out later. Is there anything wrong, or you feel good? Oh, okay.
Looks like it's very energetic.
Thank
I'm good
You
there.
got
I'll
it
be
sick.
saying that.
You've even got a glove. And it didn't come from this side. I just had to say that. You got a Snicker, that's why. Good Snickers. Good Snickers. We're talking about righteousness, and I'm in the Message Bible. So,
Are you at verse 11 yet?
11 of what?
What you've been reading?
John?
Yeah.
No, I was in 16:8 of John. No, I
Oh,
didn't.
16:8?
Yeah, that's where I started, John 16.
But I thought maybe as you're moving on.
I do, but I usually jump to another scripture. So
Well, I got,
read it.
said of judgment, because the prince of this world is judged.
Yes.
Explain that.
Prince of this world. Who is the prince of this world? Me, you, we all are. It's in our heads.
Mhm.
See, God gave everybody what? free will.
Free
You
will.
got choice. You get to choose him or not choose him. It's up to you. And we have to understand that every thought, every emotion, every word, every feeling that you receive, you get to choose. And it's either going to be
So we have to
fear-
make a judgment to do that.
Yes, we have to judge it and we decide, do we receive it or do we send it away? Look, your tomorrows are built on the choices you make today.
Where are you and what verse again?
John 16:8, and I'm doing the Message Bible today.
Okay.
I'll read it again. When he comes, he'll expose the error of the godless world's view of sin. Righteousness and judgment, he'll show them that their refusal to believe in me is their basic sin. And it's always been that way. If you don't believe in Jesus, then it's your basic sin. Everything else is just fruits from that sin.
Is that the cardinal sin that keeps people out of heaven?
But sin's sin. There is no degree of sin. Either you believe or you don't. Period. That's on everything. Everything that comes into your mind is going to come through your emotions. And 70% of your emotional feelings are in fear. Just the way it works. It's the way you were in your mama's womb. When you come out of your mama's womb, it's still 70% of it is going to be based in fear. Now it's your choice to send away the fear and receive the love. Because it's got to be one or the other. It can't be anything other. Well, how about this? Well, that's a fruit. The fruit comes from that root, the tree. Their refusal to believe in me is their basic sin. That righteousness comes from above. Can't come from doing something. The righteousness is a gift from God. It's not earned. And you have to believe in it. Where I am with the Father, out of their sight and control. That judgment takes place as the ruler of this godless world is brought to trial and convicted. Now, what does all that mean? It means every thought that you receive, you get to receive it. If you believe in it, you bring it into your life through thought and words spoken or experiences that you create by doing something will bring that into fruition into the world.
Done with the prince of this world as judge, isn't it also the enemy, Satan, that he's been judged?
He is not the prince of this world. He has never been the prince of this world. What this is talking about is what is the end result of your decision that you make.
So he was never called the prince of this world.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Oh, translators have done it. Any translator?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, but that's,
So it's your thought pattern.
has to be, because he's got no power.
Well, I knew that, because he's been judged.
Yes. Jesus,
He's already
Jesus said, I'm going to kick him out of heaven, which he did, but he'd already done it before he said it. I mean, you got to remember, Jesus always talked in the now. He didn't talk about future events or yesterday. He always talks in the now. He always did. And that confuses people when he does that. When that lady at the well, I will give you living water that you won't have to ever have another drink. She says, hallelujah, give it to me now. I don't want to get thirsty tomorrow. She's thinking carnal. He's talking spiritual. He's talking the now, in the now. That's where God's always going to be. It ain't never going to change. He's always in the now. He says, I inhabit the praises of my people. And that's where he is always going to be. Hallelujah. So when they're talking about the ruler, you got to remember that they're talking about the decisions that you make. And it's always going to be like that. Now, I mean, you've been taught that Satan's out there and he'll get you if you don't do right, and that's wrong. But that's based on the church trying to control. And I don't care if it's Catholic, Presbyterian, Baptist, it don't matter. It's in that religious genre.
Right. If that were true, then he would have gotten me a long time ago.
He'd have killed Adam and Eve before you even had anything. Yes! He would have killed Adam and Eve, then that was it. There wouldn't be no world.
I
There
call
would be
him
no
names occasionally.
He couldn't. He couldn't. He could go up to heaven and talk with God because he was an angel. He did that, Because it talks to about it in Job. He came up and said, look at your servant Job, look what he's doing here, 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 here. And God said, leave him alone, you can't hurt him.
Okay, so where it says in John 10:10, where the enemy comes,
To kill, steal, and
kill and
destroy.
steal, destroy, so,
But I've come to give you life and that
Right,
life more
right.
abundantly. What's he talking about?
well, I'm asking you.
Both of those, either way, come through from your thoughts.
It's gotta be from your mind. It's the thought system. Because look, you're a triune
Okay.
being. You've got a spirit. You got flesh, and you also have what? Will.
Soul.
Yeah, soul, will, the glory of God. That's where it goes into the soul. Yeah, you're triune. So when that spirit and soul aren't in conformity, not in harmony, what happens?
So it's always been taught it's the enemy. I mean, it's.
The church has done this
Yeah.
through transliteration and translations, yes, because they want to control you. See, you can't do it, you can't fight Satan, you gotta come to the church. And then we'll help you. And the
Well,
Catholic.
that was never, I was never taught that you could use the word of God in praises, you know, the praises of his people, that defeats the enemy and, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
But
so
I-
what you do, then you learn to that, okay, I've been taught that, but now I'm gonna move it into the realm where it really works, and that's in thinking with God or thinking with human nature. Human nature is to kill, steal, and destroy. Thinking with God is life and light and love.
Right.
Okay?
And righteousness, peace, and joy.
Right.
Hope, faith, and power.
See, that's the 9 virtues of God. So righteousness is a virtue of God. It has to be because he gave it to Jesus, which we in turn inherited from Jesus, not on our own. It's just like faith. You don't get faith. It's a gift
Right.
through righteousness. See, it's a gift from him, not of your own. So when we talk about being righteous, we're really talking about being one with Jesus.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Because we got standing with God the Father because we're in Jesus.
Yeah, because he looks through Jesus to see us.
We're different than the ones who don't.
Yes,
Reject Jesus.
absolutely. Our vibrational,
They still got that Adam appendage right in the spirit. We do not.
it's the vibrational energy that we have that's inside of us that is different from a non-believer. It's in the non-believer, but it's a different frequency, is the best way that I can put it. We have a higher frequency than they do. Why? Because they haven't been enlightened. And they never will be enlightened if they don't get born again. It won't happen. So yeah, you do shine. You've got a bit different aura than a non-believer. And most people don't believe it.
Yeah, and it's funny because I thought about this sometimes. If you could, just for fun, move over and be the eyes of an angel and look back at you, you will see the light that is in you.
Yeah, it has
So
to.
he could walk down the street and he could see who's born again and who's not.
Oh yeah, he knows.
He knows. Any angel, common angels.
They only follow instructions, so, you know. And the ones that didn't are now in hell. Well, not in hell, but they're in the earth, chained up. Hallelujah. So, John 16:8, we expose the error of the godless world view of sin. We expose it, and that's what we're doing today. We talked about this, you know, Eddie says, look at all these sins that are coming up today.
Yeah.
Well, they've always been there, but they're being exposed today. Because why? We live in an information age.
Well, the other thing is most of us here, except maybe for the youngster over here, were raised in an age when it was pretty common that everything was pretty decent. So
Yes.
what Eddie's and I are noticing is that stuff that's not decent is just accepted throughout society now.
What did Jesus say when they said good is bad and bad is
Yeah.
good? Look, that I'm on my
Right.
way. And that's what's happening. But it's always been there. It started way back in the 60s when we were all teenagers, kids, whatever. I mean, it was going on back then. I mean, the Vietnam War was a very good example of that. That's before you were even born. But when you came back from Vietnam, you were spit on, cussed, rocks thrown at you. It was horrible. Even in Oklahoma, it was horrible because we had dumbass hippies back there that were doing that. But yeah, it happens. and it's really the forgotten war. If you'll look now, everything's Iraq and Iran and desert, because it's been so long, it's been 50 years, about.
It has been almost.
So, you know, people, look, the general public almost wants to be satisfied now. And their satisfaction of now will be different than it was today. And it's instant gratification. That's the world that we live in. Because of all the information coming from iPhones, we've got them, from laptops, from providers, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can instantly contact thousands of people by just sticking one of those things up there. I don't use it, I don't want to use it, I don't know how to use it, and that's where I'm at. I don't care. That's not who I am or what I do. But it's there, and all the young people use it every day, all day long. Because they want that instant gratification of knowledge on whatever subject there is. You can go on Google and you can look at any part of the world, because they've got Google Maps, which are pictures from satellites. You can see anything. It's crazy. We've never been in an age like we are now, and this age doubles in knowledge about every 6 months. But that's who we are. And what's that lead into? Luciferian doctrine. Because it wasn't made for that, but people, because of the evilness of the person, the people of this world, they're bending it and moving it into something that they want. Not what he wants, but what they want. And with free will, you get to do it without anything going wrong in your life, up until something does go wrong.
Well, you're sowing seeds that are gonna have you a crop.
Yes, it's seed time and harvest, exactly. Hallelujah. Okay, Ephesians 6:13. Be prepared. You're up against far more than you can handle on your own. That means you gotta have Jesus in your life. Take all the help that you can get, every weapon God has issued, so that when it's all over, but the shouting, you'll still be on your feet.
God, that's so good. That is so good.
Look, God has prepared, God's given us everything that Jehovah has given Jesus. There's nothing out there that we don't have. Even
Well,
though.
the weapon is what, just our belief?
Yes, it's all about belief, faith, belief, and it's given for you from God. It's not even your own.
Knowing who you are.
But most people vacillate. They waver. We all do. Because we're hooked into this body, and this body has pain receptors that if it hurts, you don't want to do it anymore because you don't want the pain. Let's see. Every weapon God has issued. So when it's all over, but the shouting, you're still on your feet. Truth, righteousness, peace, faith, and salvation are more than words. Learn how to apply them. You'll need them throughout your life. God's word is an indispensable weapon. In the same way, prayer is essential in the ongoing way. Prayer is essential in the ongoing warfare. Pray hard and long. Pray for your brothers and sisters. Keep your eyes open. Keep each other's spirits up so that no one falls behind or drops out. Love your neighbor as yourself.
And that's why we're here.
Yes, exactly. We're ambassadors from heaven, placed on earth to spread God's word. Tell the people what they have and who they are. That's what we're here to do.
Why do they get offended when we tell them?
Because they don't want to lose control of self.
That's a good
They don't want to bend their knee to God. They don't want to put Jesus first. And neither do we sometimes. But they want to do it all the time. Because their self, their ego, their self is going to protect their self from insecurities until something happens.
And if you live it, they'll observe you, and those that want to learn will come around and learn. And those that won't will just stay in the distance looking at you.
See, that's that light that emanates from it. You got people that do that right now in your Baptist church
Yeah.
because of the light that you're producing.
My son just went through that in Dallas, Texas. His son went out for basketball, and his coach is a Christian supposedly.
A carnal Christian.
And, these kids that went through his camp didn't have to try out for the team.
No, see, that's wrong.
And, so my grandson had to try out. And, so he got put down on the B team. And, there's a couple of boys in there that's, his buddies, the coach's buddies that's been with him, through the camps and all that kind of, that's been trying to bully my grandson. And my son called me to ask me my opinion. I said, well, the easiest thing to do is to walk up to him and knock his nose in the back of his head, and let him know who's boss. But then you're gonna get kicked out and you're gonna get suspended. I said, the fighting ain't gonna resolve it. I said, what you need to do is you need to go straight to the principal and tell him you've got a situation here with a coach, and have a parent conference. And explain the situation, that your boy moved down there, you're only interested in your son's welfare, but if you feel like he's been picked on and mistreated and not given a chance, and here he is, played 3-4 years in middle school down here in Atlanta with on these all black kids that's tough as nails, and surely with an all white team in Texas he can play some. And so they have a big meeting yesterday. All right. My son goes straight to the principal with the coach. And the old coach got in there and lied like a dog. And here he is, a Christian.
Well,
My son questioned him on that.
good.
He
What'd he
challenged him.
say? What'd he say?
He said, well, no, he's making $50,000 a summer on summer camps with these kids in basketball camp. Well, he denied it. And the principal didn't know he was getting all that. Well, he just opened up a can of worms in there. So the principal said, tell me about this, tell me what. And so my son said, I wasn't there, we weren't living here when the camp's going on. I said, but my son has just moved in, and I'm just looking for him to get a fair shake. But I've called you 3 times to set up a time with you so I can come talk to you. You won't even return a phone call. And the principal looked at him and said, Coach, is that true? Well, So here's a guy that's supposed to be a Christian. He quotes scripture, in practice, and go through this motion of, trying to be, the good guy. But my son challenged him on that very thing. And they had a come to Jesus meeting. And so last night was the first ball game. And my grandson started. He put him in the ball game.
Cause he's that good anyway.
He's that good. I mean, when you play with 16, 18-year-olds as an 8th grader in Atlanta, Georgia, and you can't play basketball with white kids and the Cowboys down in Dallas, Texas.
Talk to me, Coach.
Come on.
What position does he play?
You know about that? I mean, come on.
What position does he play?
He's a forward. He's about 6 feet, but he's a hustler guy. He's the most hustling guy on the floor. He'll fall on the floor, he'll go after balls, he plays defense, he rebounds, he does it all, man. I mean, he's loved to play. And here's a guy denying him a
How
chance
many
to
did he
give him
score
a...
last night?
Huh?
How many did he score?
8.
All right.
But they won 56-12. So everybody got to play. But
Well, the good news is it got resolved. Yeah.
it got resolved because he challenged him and he checked his Christianity. Now, he's gonna have to think twice about bragging, boasting in front of people if he ain't living it.
Yeah, he's not. That's why I say he's not putting God first.
No,
He's putting him first.
no, I mean, his whole ego is at
Yes,
stake.
exactly.
And sometimes you just have to get it checked at the door, man.
And you do it in love. And you did.
And that's what old Brian did.
Yeah, I know.
And I admire him for
I
doing
know
that.
Brian.
It took courage, man.
He did. But he listened to you.
Well,
Well, he did, because he called you for advice.
yeah, he did.
It's, I'm not saying to puff you up, but it's
No,
true.
I mean, I have 30 years worth of experience to talk to him about it.
Yeah, now that's,
And your son lived through all those 30 years with you.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
I don't remember when he got married. I remember when speaking in tongues, he came to me.
Yeah.
At the Whites and said, how do you do this? And
Yeah.
I said, I don't do it, it's there. Do
Yeah.
it, I've known Brian a long time. You know
Yeah.
that.
But
Before he was.
But he's down there trying to raise his
But that's
kids right.
good. But
Yeah.
the school needs that, the principal,
Yeah.
and so does the coach.
I mean,
if
don't
he'll
be,
take
don't
it.
be faking it if you ain't gonna live it,
No,
man.
that's carnal Christian, and that's what everybody does, just about in any walk of life, they're carnal Christians.
Pride.
Exactly, and they only want God when they need Him.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, time out, God, I don't need you anymore, go over there and sit down.
Oh, it sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds good out there when the parents are, you
Oh,
know,
yes, yes, but it's not about that.
but the way you treat people,
Look, it's seed time and harvest, and he got exactly what he planned.
but
And thank you
You-
for
when
the
you do-
principal that understood that.
when you're dealing with young guys like that age, 14 years old,
Yes.
that's a crucial age in life, man.
Yes.
You can ruin them for life.
Yes, because
They can have a negative attitude for the rest of their life about sports.
because of the experience
Yeah.
that he was generating.
That's true.
That is what I'm talking about. Who are you? What do you have? And you gotta know that. And that's where it comes from. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus.
Of course, in wrestling, you don't have that kind of problem.
Dominate.
It's all dominating.
One-on-one,
One-on-one.
whoever wins.
That's it.
Okay, Philippians 3:7. The very credentials these people are, waving around as something special. And this is what we were talking about just now. The very credentials these people waving around as something special, I'm tearing up and throwing out with the trash, along with everything else I used to take credit for. And why? Because of Christ. Yes, all these things I once thought were so important are gone from my life, compared to the high privilege in knowing Jesus as my master. Firsthand, everything I once thought I had going for me is insignificant. Dog dung. I dumped it all in the trash so that I could embrace Jesus and be embraced by Him. I didn't want some petty, inferior brand of righteousness that comes from keeping a list of rules when I could get the robust kind that comes from trusting Jesus, God's righteousness. See, it's everything that guy said was done in love. That's what this whole thing says in Philippians 3:7. It's all done in love. Love for the fellow man.
Now, I noticed you reading the message.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't have the verses numbered in there like it would in the King James would.
Well, they're different verses. First, you should get out of the King James and never use it.
Well, I'm just, the way the normal.
Yes, yeah, King
Because
James.
you're
is
reading,
horrible.
and mine is all down in there in 8 and 9, what you're reading.
Yeah, it just.
But it's
says-
not, I noticed in the message, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. Because it's a whole different kind of, it's really
Right.
translation, whatever. Yeah, it's not, it's an interpretation, not a translation, that's what I'm trying to say. But the King James is horrible.
Well, don't say that.
Well, it is. It was,
It was mine for a long time.
I
I
understand
didn't
that.
have anything else.
Yeah, well, there are other Bibles for that.
Well, it wasn't when I was a kid.
Well, I threw that one away when I was about 12, so.
Well, you were smarter than me.
No,
I'm
I
from
wasn't
Tennessee.
smart. No, you followed the leader. I'm from Tennessee. I know where you're from. Oh.
We're about 3 decades away from.
Well, the King James Version is the King James Version.
Right.
The King James translated what he wanted in it and took stuff out that he didn't want in. And that's the problem with that. Some of it's good, some of it's terrible, so. Anyway.
Well, that's when I was in Sunday school and Miss Addie Jones, or my teacher, she demanded that we memorize it that way.
Oh, of
And
course.
it's
Yeah, it was intellectual information.
Yeah.
None of it got in your heart, it was up in your head.
just the way it was.
I know it.
Never forget it.
Oh, that's what, yeah, but if it's not here, it doesn't matter.
No, but I'm saying, it's, when you recall it and you read it again,
Yeah.
it's sort of kind of, brings back, you know, the wordage.
Yes, because it was an experience that you had as a kid
Yeah.
brought to you by an emotion.
You never were in Bible drills, were you, in the Baptist church?
Oh, no, man, I hated look, I went to the Baptist church because they had free, and we would go out someplace.
Donuts and stuff on
Oh,
Sunday?
no, we'd go out to the amusement parks.
Oh,
You remember Spring Lake, Ron? Yeah, they used to take us out there. It was a
Oh.
big giant amusement park.
I won the Bible.
we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, well, I didn't
What?
pay
I
for it.
won the Bible drills.
Did you?
Man, I did never lose a Bible drill. Hardly. Sometimes old David Garner got in there on me.
Yeah, we'd stand up and quote scripture, find the Bible and the verse,
That's
how
what
quick
he
you
said.
could do it.
Draw swords.
Yeah, draw swords.
Here's a hoop.
Bam.
Here's a hoop. Jump, jump, jump.
See, while you guys were doing that, I was over at the Whiskey Pagan Church, walking down there with the incense and
Anointing.
I was a head
Anointing
acolyte. I was a
people.
head acolyte.
Are you serious?
Well, 6'4" guy, you better believe it. I like that.
Did you see any of the,
The little priesties were all short guys.
So you can sprinkle their head.
Oh, yeah.
Working your way to Jesus. Yeah,
That's it.
no, yeah. That's okay.
that's one thing I like about this Bible study, you can sort of kind of say things, and just kind of out.
We tell the truth.
Tell the truth, I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
there's-
honest and unfortunate.
There's no sugarcoat going on.
The people listening like to hear that too. You know, when they
Oh,
go
they-
on YouTube and they hear all this
Yeah,
crazy
I
shit
bet.
in there.
If nothing else, it's interesting.
No, I get compliments.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And it goes all over the world.
I better keep,
Why? They don't know who you are.
Lord have mercy.
Go right.
All over the world, Cole.
No, yeah, it does. I mean, I've had people from South America, Australia.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Good.
2 Timothy 2:22.
Oh.
Run away from the, run away from the infantile indulgence. Infantile indulgence.
What does that mean?
Okay, what's infantile mean?
Baby.
Okay.
Youthful
Indulgence.
lust.
Indulgence.
Hey.
You can indulge in eating too much. You can indulge in drinking too much. It's more than
Youthful lust.
you need.
Youthful, is that what the King
Mhm.
James said?
Yeah. It's gotta be lust. It can't be anything else, but, you know. Run away from the infantile indulgence. Run after mature righteousness, faith, love, peace, joining these who are in honest and serious prayer before God. Refuse to get involved in an inane discussion. Inane means it has nothing to do with the truth. It's gossip. There's no truth in it. They always end up in fights. God's servant must not be argumentative, but a gentle listener and a teacher who keeps cool, working firmly but patiently with those who refuse to obey. And that sounds just like me, doesn't it?
No, I don't sound like you at all. Working patiently, I've never heard that from the Musa.
But a gentle listener and a teacher who keeps
Yeah.
cool, working firmly but patiently with those who refuse to obey. You never know how or when God might sober them up with a change of heart and turning to the truth, enabling them to escape the devil's trap, where they are caught and held captive, forced to run his errand.
Wait a minute, devil's trap. That's,
Hey, I didn't interpret this, brother. I'm just reading what it was written. Yeah, well, you know
okay.
what that means. It's, what do you?
But his biggest thing to damage us and destroy us is deception.
Which is brought on by us.
Right, it's the thoughts.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's all
also
false.
brought on by the people who practice Luciferian doctrine, the cultural leaders of the day. If you choose to listen to that nonsense,
Yes. It's your choice.
just don't.
It's also brought on by your friends and family and wife.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
What would the number one Jesus say? He said, surround yourself with like-minded
Right.
individuals. Right?
Yep.
So that kind of answers that, right?
Just like it says in, what is it, the Romans 12:2, do not be conformed to this world.
But be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
And you won't be transformed goodly by the world's culture.
You can't. That's why he's talking about meditation, prayer, meditation, same thing. All the way through this, you hear it, pray, pray, pray. Pray honestly, pray hard, pray high, pray, 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 pray. And that, all that's talking about is regaining your sight.
That's,
That's true.
that's why my neighbor looks at me when I stand out there barefoot. It's on my
Hey, I'm out.
Looking at the sun.
Yeah, but it was good because you took pictures and you sent them.
And next time he walks up, and he just do one of the, oh.
Oh,
He'll just,
I know.
run right away.
I'm out there every morning at 41 degrees in a pair of shorts, barefoot, and that's all I got on. And those people look at me like I'm crazy when they're going to work or walking.
I'm sure they do.
And, you know, at 41, it's, you know, if the wind
Yeah,
blows,
it's
it's
chilly.
cold. But I stay out there for my 30 minutes. But it's really good if you want to lose weight, but it's also good for you.
You know something, I've done that several times. He gets up real early and goes to work out and stuff, and he'll see me sometimes out there in the morning. You know, he asked me the other day, he and his wife are expecting a baby, you know, in like April or May. They want to start getting involved in church.
Hallelujah.
Now, I don't know whether that was called me or anything like that.
Of course it was.
But you know, when you treat people halfway decent, you know, and you go all out and serve them and take care of them, and
But that's
as a
love.
neighbor,
Yeah, that's
that's
love.
just love,
Yeah,
man.
that's what it's supposed
Now they don't want to do that, and they want to get their kid, you know, when the time comes, they want to have a church ready to go.
Wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Praise God. That's great. That's
So-
what you're supposed to be doing. But yes, you're right.
I'm waiting on the time when he asked me, what do you do out there in the yard?
Tell him you're celebrating. You're out
Calibrating?
celebrating.
Oh,
Yeah,
Celebrating.
calibrated.
You're defragging, you're doing cold thermogenesis protocol, and you're celebrating. You're gaining your sight all at once.
oh. I bet it is.
When he asks you, what does regain your sight mean, what are you gonna say, Cole?
Well, every day, as a Christian, you gotta renew yourself. And the world is hard enough to live in as it is. It's a cruel world. Time you watch news and you listen to all this junk, and then you gotta reestablish yourself as, this is what I believe and this is how I'm gonna live.
Yeah, you're lining up your thinking with the creator of the universe.
That's it.
That's good.
And
that's putting your soul and your spirit as one. And that's very important.
That's true.
That's harmony.
And I like the stick man you're using, because that's the ones I use. Here's the spirit, here's the soul, they're together, and if they're lined up, then you don't have a crooked heart. And here, I was using this as the body, and the other day, which the Holy Spirit said, you notice you got 5 fingers, and that represents the 5 physical senses?
Yep.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
So when the body dies, there you go, right to heaven.
Yeah.
If you're not born again, well, it's a different direction.
that's a sermon topic, man.
That's
an illustration. That's an illustration you can use in the pulpit, man.
Hebrews 7:1. Melchizedek was king of Salem and priest of the highest God. Salem is Jerusalem, that's what that means. He met Abraham, who was returning from the royal massacre. That's when he kicked 3 kings and he went to go get Lot. And gave him his blessing. Abraham, in turn, gave him a 10th of the spoils. Melchizedek means king of righteousness. Salem means peace.
That's good.
So he is also king of peace. Melchizedek towers out of the past, without record of family, ties, no account of beginning or end. And in this way, he is like the Son of God. One hug, priestly presence, dominating the landscape always. I had a guy come up to me and says, who who's this Melchizedek? I've been asking teachers and preachers my whole, and nobody can tell me. I said, it's a representative of
It
Jesus.
certainly is.
And that's who it is.
There wasn't what does it mean by the order of Melchizedek?
It's the highest order of priesthood in the belief of the Jews.
Of the Jews?
That's the
Yeah.
highest one. When Melchizedek came along, the Levitical priesthood disbanded.
Oh,
You're a Melchizedek over your family. You're a Melchizedek you're a Melchizedek. Even you're a Melchizedek. Even though you're a pastor, you're still Melchizedek. And Ronnie already knows about this. But yeah, that's who we are. We are in the priesthood. We are a royal priest blessed by Jesus through God.
Praise.
And that's who you are. Believe it or not, that's still who you are. You don't have to believe it, but you are. Why? That's when your family comes to you, just like your son did for your grandson, you wanted your Melchizedek wisdom, which comes along with the priesthood. And that's why they blessed their grandchildren and their children while they were still in the womb. They said a blessing over them. That's what a Melchizedek does.
Because you have the authority.
Yes,
Your wife doesn't, you do.
exactly. So Adam had that same thing over Eve. That's why Adam could throw it all away and go into the world.
Yep.
Adam brought death to the world, not Satan. Adam did, because Satan didn't have any power. See, and he still doesn't have any power. It hadn't changed.
he did a deception.
If you want to listen to him,
Yeah.
but you've got to give him permission to do it.
Yeah.
See, it's still based on you.
Yeah, he stays so far away from me.
Well, he has to. He
I
cannot.
don't know, man.
Really? I do.
I'm watching you lately.
He's waggling your tail.
I never even think about him until
No,
somebody
I
brings
agree.
him up around here, then I don't.
When I hear people giving him all this power, ooh, and I'm going, no, stupid, no.
Like,
Yeah,
what's his name, Philip? No, Thomas.
I don't remember.
Thomas, that's
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, he's the second most powerful thing in the, oh, get out of town, dude. If he was so powerful, how did Adam and Eve get along? You know?
No, listen, when somebody says that, ask them, well, what's the first most powerful thing that's ever been on this planet? And they might say Jesus. I say, be a little more specific.
Yeah.
Blood.
But he's gone to those, Luciferian doctrine churches, and that's what he's been taught, and that's what he regurgitates, unfortunately, and it's wrong. James 1:19, post this at all the intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears, follow up with your tongue, and let the anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from human anger.
Praise God.
So throw all the spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humiliation.
I'm taking your instructions. I need that.
Yeah, I
Give me
know.
some more of that.
I try to do better, but sometimes I don't. If I had a shotgun, I'd be empty by the time I got home. People don't deserve to procreate. Some of them, they're too stupid. Hallelujah. 2 Peter 2:4. God didn't let the rebel angels off the hook, but jailed them in hell till judgment day. Neither did he let the ancient ungodly world off. He wiped it out with a flood, rescuing only 8 people. Noah, the sole voice of righteousness, was one of them. Pretty self-explanatory, huh? Does anybody know how long Noah lived?
120?
No, that was,
687,
I
something.
think Sarah was 120. Yeah.
It was in the 600s.
Yeah. People lived a long time back then. They had to, because they were the only people left on Earth. Which helped, And, yeah, he lived 600 or 700 years, somewhere in there. It took him 100 years to build a boat.
Was you think that's,
Yes, it's real years.
you think that's
Yeah.
because the diseases weren't in the world like they are, been multiplied like they have in our day?
There wasn't as many people on the earth, therefore there wasn't as much sin. So, And people just lived a long time back then. They had to, because there wasn't that many people there anyway. But all the people that were with him, all of them were sin. They all were in sin. And they laughed at him. You figure 100 years building a boat?
What would a guy look like at 600 years old?
Well, we don't even know how big they were. He could have been 12 feet tall.
Oh,
For
yeah.
all we know. We don't know. Enoch has a lot of stuff to talk about in that. But well, there were more oxygen. The magnetic energy of the earth was more. The sky was pink. It wasn't blue like it is now, because they had a firmament, a band of water around the earth, which took out a lot of negative energy that the sun puts down. So, were there dinosaurs back then? Yeah. And they were huge. So yeah, I think the people were too.
But I've been to the tomb where Jesus was placed.
Yeah.
4'9" is what the measurement of it is.
Could be.
There was four places where the guy had, the guy that donated the tomb. You couldn't put a 6-foot guy in that slab.
But they also bent their knees when they put them in.
Well,
That's how they do real tall people today, because caskets aren't 7 feet tall. So they bend their knees and put them in.
okay.
But they could have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen his tomb or anything else, but yes. But I believe the people back then were very, very tall, because Nimrod was 15, 16 feet tall. And that's at the Tower of Babel. He was the first king in the Bible in Genesis. So. And Abraham, he was tall. They don't tell you exactly how tall they were. But there were some real big people back then. And that was after the flood.
And the good news is Caleb was 4'8", and he took all the tall guys out.
He didn't say that.
What?
He didn't say he's 4'8".
They said he was a little skinny Jew.
He was 80 years old, and he said, I am just as strong now as I ever was, and I'll kick there. And he did, because he had God on his side. It was all done through his faith from God, righteousness from God. So yeah. And he did. He killed them all. He took the hills, the mountains.
Were you a Christian when you were a 120-pound wrestler?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You had to walk in there with confidence.
What I would do is, I'm just a very nice, docile guy. I'd step on the mat, breathe and move, and I would become a laughing hyena and destroy the guy laughing at him. But never, I wouldn't matter, I was just happy and just it killed him and walked off and then came back to normal.
Geared up for competition.
This will be our last scripture, 2 Peter 2:4. God?
We got that.
Oh, we did? 2 Peter 11:3.
2 Peter 11.
Since everything here today might well be gone tomorrow, do you see how essential it is to live a holy life? Daily expect the day of God, eager for its arrival. The galaxies will burn up and the elements melt down that day, but will hardly notice.
Did you say 2 Peter 11?
No, can't be. Ain't got the
2 Peter 3:11.
I was thinking of.
Well,
We're all working on that.
I'll throw you some more bait. Since everything here today might well be gone tomorrow, do you see how essential it is to live a holy life? Daily expect the day of God, eager for its arrival. The galaxies will burn up and the elements melt down that day, but we'll hardly notice. We'll be looking the other way, ready for the promise of new heavens and the promise of new earth, all landscaped with righteousness.
Hallelujah. Cities of light.
That's it, brother. Cities of light.
You think you might save Jubilee and be part of that?
People's first community of light.
Have any questions or anything other than what we've gone over?
You gonna cut it off?
Yeah, pretty soon.
Okay. The question is, is it John 14:12? Where it says,
Believe
I
on
say
me.
unto you, if you believe on me, the works that I do, you do. And
Amen.
greater works
Yes, that's regaining your sight, by the way.
is, so the greater works of what?
Ah, good question.
One, Jesus, how many people did Jesus get born again while they walked this earth? None.
Right.
Okay, you can. That's a greater work.
Well, I mean, you lead them, but it's the Spirit that does it. Right.
Anyway, you
Share
open the
the
door,
gospel.
you open the door, they gotta walk through.
Right.
They get to choose, but yeah, Jesus didn't do that.
Right.
So right there's a greater work.
Okay, now, do you, when you're meditating, do you see yourself walking on water and healing the sick and?
I've always seen that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's pretty easy, but the walking on water, I can't quite get my hands around, my head or my heart around that one yet. But,
yeah.
I mean, you said you could do it.
Yes.
So, you know,
If you believe it,
if you believe it,
yeah.
Well, here's what you wanna do about stuff like that.
yeah.
You wanna say, all right, you said I can do it, I believe it. I don't have any water here, I don't wanna put on a show, I don't have a need for that, but I know when I do have a need for it, I'm there.
That's it.
So that way, you just take what comes and you're believing that what he said you can do, you can do all that. But what do we do next? We're gonna walk out that door and go upstairs and, as we go through our day, just focus in and think with him in a continuum, saying, all right, this is what I wanna do now. That's what we're gonna do now. So it just flows and goes.
So just to go out and walk on water to prove God,
No, that's
that's like snake handling.
no, but I'm just saying,
If you're on a boat, you may need to.
well, I would just, I can see laying hands on the sick and doing that.
Yeah.
God's
Oh,
power.
that, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, but the walking on the water has gotten me, because I was,
How many times did Jesus walk on water?
a couple of
That
times,
we know in the Bible.
Once.
couple of times, like,
Once that I know of.
When Peter stepped out of the boat,
But the only reason he walked to the boat, and they thought he was a ghost, and they were really scared. And Peter says, if that's you, Lord, because he wanted to test him to see if it was really him. So, and Jesus says, come out. Here's your test, walk on the water. And he did. And he walked up to Jesus, as long as Jesus' arm was, and then he started sinking. Quickly, quickly, go. And he grabbed him and pulled him up. But yeah, I mean,